Welcome back, YouTube family. Happy Remembrance Day. Happy Veterans Day to all you people out there that have served and given your lives to better service. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you all. And that's why we're doing two videos today that are a little bit different than our customary content. If you don't know, my name is Phil. This is Samantha.
Hey guys.
And we're Bars and Barbells as a team. This is different because we normally do sports, music, and comedy, but we're doing a little bit of reflection and history today. And we're doing one of my favorite all-time great Canadians, if not my favorite Canadian. I grew up doing the Terry Fox runs.
Same.
You know, at school, elementary school,
Yeah.
started really young, but you know, rightly so, given all the credit he deserves, because Terry Fox is an amazing guy. But it's been a long time since I've reflected on his story, and I think I've probably forgotten a lot of it.
Yeah. I remember learning a lot about it when I was younger in elementary school and doing the runs. But I feel like, maybe because it's been so long, it's maybe not talked as much about anymore as it probably should be.
Well, one of the things that I'm really annoyed about, and I won't go on too much of a rant on it, is that they removed Terry Fox from the Canadian passport with the new passports that they designed. And it really kind of got under my skin. I'm like, how can you remove this guy? Like, this guy to me was the ultimate human being. Like, this was what you would want to strive to be like. And as a Canadian, like I said in the beginning, there's not really anybody else that I would say, is above and beyond what Terry Fox did for Canada and just the wholeheartedness approach that he had to life. So why would you take him off the passport? I don't know, but there are apparently some...
If you're in charge of passports and you're watching this,
there's apparently
Phil's not happy.
some fancy colors that they had to put on instead. So that's my little rant. But we know that a lot of you guys in our subscriptions are American, right? So that's why we've wanted to diversify. We're going to learn when we do the Veterans Day and the Star Spangled Banner video about some of the American history there. And you guys hopefully will learn a little bit about our Canadian history and Terry Fox. If you don't know much about him, I think we're going to get some more details even than we know in this.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah.
Your feelings on Terry Fox? I mean, I've rambled a little bit, but anything you wanted to add in terms of, like you said, you grew up, you knew about him, you learned about him in school. Anything else that you wanted to add?
Not really. Just like you said, I think it's really, really impressive the personal sacrifice that he made in the name of cancer research. And, given his own situation, he could have just said, like, I want to try to live the rest of my life as fully as possible for myself, selfishly, but he didn't do that, right? And I think that what he did is insanely brave.
Let's find out what he did.
Yes.
All right, let's get it going.
This afternoon at 2:45 in St. John's Harbor, Terry Fox dipped his foot into the waters of the Atlantic Ocean.
When Terry Fox was 18 years old, doctors discovered cancer in his right leg. It would change his life and change Canada forever.
And one morning I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed. That day they told me I had a malignant tumor and that I had to have my leg amputated in 4 days. And I decided after my 1.5 years of chemotherapy that I'd try and run across Canada and raise as much money as I could.
When he first started the run across Canada at the age of 21, almost no one noticed. He ran alone, 42 kilometers a day, a full marathon on one leg, every day of the week.
He endured every type of weather in Newfoundland. There was rain, sleet, and snow. Because he was running westward, Terry was often running directly into the wind. Terry loved the early morning, so he would often get up at 4 a.m. anyways and start running and get a few miles in, stop for breakfast, and then he would finish the rest of his miles off.
His best friend, Doug Allward.
Sort of pause it quick because I forgot to add that we're going to have a little bit of a pop quiz for you right now.
Yes.
In that, what did Terry Fox win 3 national championships in? What sport Did he win 3 national championships? And we'll tell you that answer at the end of the video if you stick around what that is. But I did want to add, given that, we just heard already what he started doing, getting up at 4 a.m. on one leg.
To run a full marathon.
To run a full
every
damn
day.
marathon.
Every day.
So you can do anything, the video is called Anything's Possible. That's why. Like, that's dedication, right?
Trailed in a van behind him. He ran from Newfoundland towards his hometown of Vancouver, where he planned to finish the run and pour water he collected from the Atlantic into the Pacific, symbolically uniting our country.
The prosthetic that Terry had was actually a walking leg. Back in the 1980s, people didn't run on prosthetic legs. Running on his prosthetic leg was incredibly painful for Terry. His stump would chafe and bleed.
I don't run a normal technique. I have to take an extra off my real leg in order to have time for my artificial leg to come through.
He set many goals for himself, and he had to work incredibly hard to achieve them.
When I'm running each day, I take one day at a time. When I'm running, I take 1 mile at a time, and I take 1 corner at a time. Every signpost, I'm looking at it and reaching out for that signpost. Every corner, I'm reaching out, and this is the type of thing I'm thinking of when I'm running.
The night before Terry's operation, I visited Terry. It was just him and me in his hospital room, and all I could think of saying to Terry at the time was, Terry, why do you have to have cancer? Why not me? Why not somebody else? Why you? And Terry's answer immediately was, why not me, Fred? I've been told all my life I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest or the smartest. This is just another challenge I have to overcome.
Terry's determination began to pay off. People began to take notice. When running through a town of 10,000 people, he raised $10,000, $1 for every person. He changed his goal of raising $1 million for cancer research to $24 million, $1 for every Canadian.
So when Terry was in hospital, one of the nurses thought that it would be better for him to be placed in the children's ward. He was surrounded by kids who were suffering from cancer as well. Those are the faces that he never forgot.
I'm crying now because there's somebody here right now who is going through the same thing that I went through. Exact same thing, and he's only 10 years old. And I had the most inspirational day of my life today.
At the time of Terry's diagnosis, his chance of survival was around 50%. Had Terry been diagnosed a few short years earlier, he would have been faced with a 30 or 35% chance of survival. It was right there that Terry learned the importance of cancer research and raising money to find a cure for cancer.
Sometimes I have to run in a lot of pain and I get pretty tired. But I don't feel any pain when I get support like this. So you're fabulous, and I'd just like to thank you for that.
The support kept growing. News media across Canada began to cover Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope with daily updates of where he was. From stadiums to city centres in the heart of Canada, thousands went out to meet him, and donations towards cancer research began to pour in.
Terry wasn't running across Canada to become famous or to become rich. He wanted to make a difference in other people's lives.
There was absolutely no question that this was some iconic event that was happening. Talking about cancer publicly was something that really wasn't done very much. He made it okay to talk about cancer. And that was the first most important step to then allow the rest of the population to do what needed to be done to start thinking of raising funds for cancer research.
Research.
That's also what's so crazy is the spotlight that he shone. Obviously, what he did was tremendous, and that's why the spotlight was shone. But, it's crazy how much, coverage ended up being on him, but then in light of that being on cancer research.
He's brought so much awareness.
Yeah.
It's also mind-blowing that he's only 21 and he's doing this, right? Like, he created more change at 21 that's more than most people do in their entire lifetime.
Yeah, and, just the leadership qualities as well, right?
Taking the initiative,
saying and doing the right things, the way you carry yourself, being an inspiration, like you said, at such a young age,
and the follow through too, right? Like, I think I don't want to say anybody can set that goal, because most people wouldn't even set that goal, but to set that goal and then to actually follow through on it once you see how hard it really is and like get into it, it'd be very easy for someone to just give up and be like, all right, well, I made some awareness, I brought some attention to this, like I'm just not going to finish.
But he realizes, you can tell that he doesn't want to let people down, right? It's bigger than himself, I think, is what we're seeing, right?
Researchers across Canada have devoted their lives to learning what cancer is and how to cure it.
We have lots of cells in our body, and what happens with cancer cells is they forget to grow up. They just start dividing and making more and more of themselves and become a huge lump. And that lump essentially is cancer.
Today, thousands of schools across Canada raise money for cancer research by participating in the Terry Fox Run.
When I say Terry, you say Terry! Terry! It is so good to see you here, all wearing your Terry Fox shirts. Schools all across Canada, from as far as St. John's, Newfoundland, all the way to Victoria, BC, raise so much money for cancer research in his honor. I'm a cancer survivor of the same cancer that Terry had, called osteosarcoma.
My dad and I were about to go out fishing when he noticed one of my shoulder blades was visibly much larger than the other. That was the night that they told me that I had a form of bone cancer in my right shoulder blade. Terry said that I remember promising myself if I should survive, then I'll prove myself deserving of life. And that was something that I carried into my own journey, that if I should survive, that I will prove myself deserving of life, that I will keep fundraising.
More money equals more research. More research equals more hope. There are so many other Canadians who are dealing with their own battles in cancer, and that's why we need to fundraise to help those people.
Still
there
today.
Were a couple of nights where I had woken up feeling pain in my hip. My mom took me to the family doctor after school one day. They transferred us to Sick Kids, where they found out that I had leukemia.
One of the most common child cancers is called leukemia, which is a cancer of the white blood cells, the cells that fight infections. Around the time that I was born, only 2% of children with leukemia survived, and now over 90% do.
I started to feel better actually pretty soon. It was only like a year later that I started going back to hockey and running around, and not my regular self, but much better than I had been.
Terry had a dream of running from one end of Canada to the other. He took a long and winding route through the country and had run over 5,000 kilometers. He was just east of Thunder Bay, Ontario, when things started to change.
Terry knew earlier on that something was wrong. It was very rare for him to want to go and see a doctor. So when they stopped in Thunder Bay, everybody knew that something very serious was happening.
I had noticed a little bit of hardness in breathing. Near the end of the day, 18 miles, I was coughing and choking and had pain in my neck and my chest. And I did 3 more miles, and I decided I had to go see the doctor. And it was discovered then that originally I had primary cancer in my knee 3.5 years ago. And that the cancer had spread, and now I've got cancer in my lungs. And we got to go home and try and do some more treatment. But all I can say is if there's any way I can get out there again and finish it, I will.
Terry had to stop the run and fly home to Vancouver to undergo more cancer treatment. At 22 years old, Terry became the youngest person ever to be awarded the Order of Canada, an award that recognizes outstanding achievement and dedication to the service of our country.
Terry Fox's courage in embarking on the Marathon of Hope has won him the admiration and affection of Canadians from coast to coast.
9 months later, he would pass away in the hospital.
I've said to people before that I'm going to do my very best to make it. I'm not going to give up, and that's true. But I might not make it. And if I don't make it, The Marathon of Hope better continue.
Terry reached his goal of raising $24 million. In honor of his legacy, the Terry Fox Foundation was born, with a mission to fundraise for cancer research to ultimately find a cure.
What started as one person back in 1980, just Terry on his Marathon of Hope, has grown to over 8,500 schools and millions of students across the country participating in the Terry Fox Run.
The foundation has raised over $750.
It's wild because I know the story, but it still hits me in the gut so hard.
I know. He must have been so disappointed when they told him that he couldn't finish.
Yeah, I think like that, like seeing that picture, the reason why it still, tugs on your heartstrings, I think is because when you see him speaking about that, you can tell, I don't think he's so much broken because he's not able to, like the cancer, like it's not, he's breaking down because of the cancer. I think he's breaking down because he's not able to finish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he must have been so disappointed that he couldn't finish what he started.
Like I'm sure, obviously, he's super sad that he's encountered that hurdle again. But given that he was such a strong character to begin with, I think it was knowing the backstory of how he set out to do this and wanted to really raise money for a good cause, and then to have that happen, I think it's just so unfortunate that you're midway through and made so much progress, and that was the outcome. But with that said, we're seeing right here on the screen, the Terry Fox Foundation has raised over $750 million. I think that's up to this point, and they said that he raised $24 million.
So he hit his goal.
Yeah, and now 8,000 schools, or was it 8,000 or 8,500
schools? Yeah, they said millions.
Yeah, so the outcome, was not lost, and he,
the impact he definitely made his impact.
Yeah, like he still achieved his goal in not finishing.
Yeah.
Right?
$1 million for cancer research in Terry's name.
What is the future looking like? Very bright, I would say. I know researchers are getting closer and closer every day to hopefully one day find that ultimate cure.
80% of the children that I treat are cured of cancer. 80%. And until this 80% becomes 100%, we will have not achieved what we need to. And that is what cancer research will help us accomplish.
Every September, schools get creative with fundraising and go full swing into promoting their Terry Fox Run.
All the fundraising and the money that goes into it is like going towards cancer research, and it's something worth running for.
I'm thankful for the donors in the schools across Canada that really helped in my journey with cancer and allowed me to be here today.
Every September, schools from Newfoundland to BC and up to Nunavut launch their Terry Fox Run with fundraising goals, following his example of courage, determination, and compassion.
Let's all be like Terry. On the count of 3, repeat after me. I want to fight cancer.
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 1, 2, 3.
Good question. So what will yours be?
Yeah.
And I'll leave a link below in the description there, guys. So if you want to check that out and you want to make any donations, you can do that for a good cause. And clearly, he had a huge impact.
Huge impact
in Canada, but probably more than just Canada. Worldwide in the research aspect.
We were kind of looking at this a little bit before. It said over 60 countries do the Terry Fox Run now.
So like I said, Terry's a legend, man. He's just he sets the example of what you can do. Anything's possible, as the movie said, or the film said.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more detailed documentaries on his life and his journey out there as well. But it was nice to reflect and just reminisce on somebody that really decided to make a difference in the world and bring a positive change in whatever way that he could.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool to hear from some of the people who are, survivors of something similar to what he went through later on, but how his ability to stand up and try to create awareness and create change has positively impacted them down the line because of all the money that's been raised and the awareness that's been raised and has been put towards the cancer research. So they got to have a better experience.
Yeah. And so I made a quick mention during the video. When we started, I gave you a little pop quiz, and I said, what sport did Terry Fox take part in? And he won 3 national championships. And the answer to that is...
wheelchair basketball.
Yeah. So he was an athlete through and through, and he used those abilities in the right way, and that's awesome to see. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed our little video here on Terry Fox. Like I said, somebody that you cannot forget because he sets a great example for so many of us. So I hope you enjoyed it. You enjoyed reflecting?
I did, yeah.
A little bit emotional there, but it's, it's more, like I said, just reflection.
It's a weird mix of feelings. It's almost like sad emotion but happy emotion at the same time. Like it's kind of a
I think it's sad because you look at him and you understand he was a great individual.
Yeah.
And so to see his life end earlier than you would have liked to have had happen, I think is what's the sad part, right?
Yes,
but the positive part and the good feeling is knowing that he made such a great difference.
Yeah.
Right.
And seeing how positive it impacted everybody else.
Yeah. So get motivated. You can do anything that you want to. Guys, you can get out there and achieve great things. So go and do that. We hope you have a great day and come back soon and check out our next video.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.